You have not because you ask not. Are you scared to ask? When's the last time you asked for exactly what you want? Not settle and be like, I'm okay with just this, because that's not asking for what you want. That is settling for what you think is possible. So how much are we actually asking for exactly what we want? And number two, is it written down somewhere? Can you look at it? Can you read it? Do you read it? Is it visual? Real simple stuff. Y'all have been on these calls for some time. You know, we talk about it. It's the small things that are going to allow you to design the life you want. It's the small things that separate average from great. It's just little tiny things that we repeat over and over again. So are we asking for the things that we actually want? Do you believe in your heart that you can achieve those things? And is it written down? This is going to be such an important and heavy topic for us to talk about as we head into these last couple. Guys, we got less than 60 days left in the year, and people are going to start to have these thoughts and these conversations about New Year's resolutions and how next year is going to be different and all the stuff that happens around December, January. But are we taking time to actually change these habits? Are we taking time to actually change these habits, specifically writing these things down? I've been guilty of not doing it. I've been guilty of starting a business plan, starting a plan, writing it out, and then not reading it. And after a few months, not reviewing it and not updating it. I've been guilty of the same thing. But if we want to make significant leaps in our life, this is clearly something that's going to be important. I've had the privilege over the past couple of weeks to sit down in Zoom call, in person and on Zoom calls with a billionaire. I don't know many of us that get the opportunity to have personal kind of one-on-one group, a bit mentorship from someone of that status, right? Billionaire status. And one of the things that he's talked to us about over these past few weeks was this exact topic of writing down exactly what we want. He calls it a plan to energize and focus. Most times we need a plan, a written down plan of how to keep ourselves energized, how to keep ourselves headed towards the life that we want. It takes a lot of energy to get to the place where we can design the life we don't need a break from. It takes energy to go after your dreams. This is why when other things are stealing your energy, it's almost impossible for you to go design the life you want. So you need a plan to keep you energized and to keep you focused on exactly what the task at hand is. And we took notes and we wrote down all the things that, right, we needed to plan. And he read to us his plan. You heard Steve Harvey say he knows a lot of wealthy people. He said all of them have some form of a vision board or some form of a written out plan. Success leaves clues. Success leaves clues. You want to be successful? Do the things that successful people do. So if now this is the message reoccurring from a billionaire, from Steve Harvey, from probably a ton of other people, say, hey, make sure from God, from the Bible, right? Write down your plan, write down your vision, make it plain, right? You have to write it out. So we can't skip this step, ladies and gentlemen. This is something that we got to focus on if we really want to take our lives to the next level. Inside of this text, 177 mental toughness secrets, this chapter, he says, champions feed their vision and starve their fear. They feed their vision and starve their fear. So just from that title, just understand the world brings us fear. Social media, the actual media, news, everything around us, walking outside, that brings us fear-based messaging. So the question is, how do you then feed your vision? Well, the way you feed your vision is you write it down and you read it every day. That's how do you feed yourself? Actual food. You eat, you sit down, you feed yourself. Same thing with your vision. You've got to be able to feed it. The only way to feed it is to write it down, to read it, and feed yourself, consume it over and over again, and watch what happens in your life. Here's what it says in the text. It says, all great philosophers seem to agree that human beings become what they think about most of the time. For this reason, the world class creates compelling visions written with great attention to detail and fueled by emotion. And then they think about their vision all the time. The great ones seem to go through 4 stages of mental evolution after creating a world-class vision. The first stage brings them increased mental clarity, which occurs as a result of putting their dreams on paper. Guys, your dreams got to be on paper. It can't just be up here. They have to be written down. The second stage is an intensified focus on the vision, which occurs as a result of the performer thinking about the vision morning, noon, and night. The third stage turns their intensified focus into a burning desire, which often is fueled by the frustration of seeing and believing the vision is reality on the mental plane, but not yet on the physical plane. We'll talk about that. Champions often develop incredible visualization and self-talk skills that convince the subconscious the vision they project on the movie screen of their mind is real, when at the same time, the performer's conscious mind knows it's not. This creates what psychologists call cognitive dissonance, or two thoughts cognitions that are inconsistent. Since the human mind hates to be inconsistent, it drives the performer to take action and make the vision a reality. The success-driven behavior creates the final stage, which occurs when the vision turns into an obsession. Most of the time, it's a healthy obsession, which means the performer is thinking, strategizing, and moving closer to her vision every day. When stage 4 kicks in, failure is no longer an option. The champion will do whatever it takes to manifest the vision. The great ones fuel their obsession by only thinking positive thoughts about their vision, and these thoughts create psychological, physiological, and spiritual energy. At this stage, they are no longer willing to entertain thoughts of fear and will shelter themselves from anything or anyone who approaches them speaking the language of scarcity. In essence, the great ones feed their vision and starve their fear. Feeding your vision is the key to getting to the life that you want. So let's walk through some of these steps, because this is step by step. This is what it's saying. This is actually, in essence, what our billionaire mentor was talking to us about. How do we actually put this plan in place? How do we do this? So these are these stages he was just talking about. So these 4 levels of your vision. First is increased mental clarity. You got to know what you want. How many times you're going to hear us say that, right? You got to know what you want. You got to know exactly what it is you're going after. Mental clarity. If you are not clear on what you want, the likelihood of you getting it is very low. If you say, I want to be rich, that is not clarity. If you said, I need to make $800,000 so that I can invest a certain amount, I get a certain return, so that means I can live my lifestyle off of $57,000 a year, that's clarity. There's details behind it. So how clear are you? How clear on exactly what you want? How clear are you on the reasons why you want those things? Diane put it in the chat. His gentleman's name is Rich Thahali. Yes, that was him, right? Rich said, right? You got to write down before you even start your business plan. You got to write down, why are you doing this? Why are you doing any of this stuff? Why are you working? Why are you working hard? Why are you changing your lifestyle? Why are you putting yourself through pain and learning business? Like, why are you doing any of this? There needs to be some emotional motivators to give you clarity on exactly what you want. And as it said, you got to write it down. It's not good enough to just have it in our mind. The second stage, after you're clear on like, this is what I'm headed for. And by the way, you might not know. Steve Harvey said that. He gave you this list of saying, hey, write down 300 things. And when your mind gets to 75, guess what? You might not know. Your mind's going to lock up. We're not used to living in the dream world. We're not used to using our imagination. As children, we are. As we become adults, we're not always used to using that muscle. Some of you have shut down your dream machine. Some of you might wish for some things, but you're actually okay if it doesn't happen. You shut down the dream machine. So that's the first step. We got to get the dream machine going again to say, hey, what is it that I actually want? What is it that I'm trying to feel? Mental clarity. That then the second level of it is then the intensified focus. Reading what you said you want every day, morning, noon, and night. Putting it on your phone. Steve Harvey said, again, I have my vision board on all my devices. It's the lock screen on my phone. It's on my iPad and tablets. It's on my computer. That's an intensified focus. He is focused on the thing that he says he wants. So that's your next level. Clarity, intensified focus. Read it every single day, twice a day, in the morning. Rich Stawley said, read it with energy. He showed us like a 4-page document that is his plan. He said every single morning he woke up, he read it with intensity. He read it with energy. It wasn't just some boring goals on a list. It gave him energy to read it. Took him 5 to 10 minutes to read it. He read it out loud every single morning. Then when he got home, he read it before he went to sleep. It was the last thing. Just imagine what your life would be like if you were connected to your goals first thing in the morning, and it was the last thing you did at night. The last thing wasn't social media. The last thing wasn't Netflix. The last thing, right, wasn't just something that is taking you away from those things. The last thing you think about before your head hits that pillow is everything you want to make happen. Then your first thoughts in the morning after gratitude are all the things you want to make happen. How would your life change? How would you be focused? How would you not allow the distractions to come in? It's the intensified focus is what allows us to stay excited and get to those things. Now, this third level, the burning desire fueled by frustration and vision. That's where most people are, and that's where most people stop. It's because you start reading these things over and over again. Again, I've been guilty of this. You read these things over and over again. You know that this is what God has for you. You know this is what you want. You feel it. It's starting to give you that pit in your stomach because you don't actually have it. That's not what life looks like. You're reading all these grandiose things that you want to make happen, and then you walk out and you're still depressed and you still have anxiety and the bank account's still negative and the business still isn't going the way you want it to, but you reading it for months. But on the physical plane, what your eyes see, it's nothing like that. That brings incredible frustration. And some of you might be in that spot right now. Some of you might be in the place where you're like, I know what I want. I know my goals. I know what I'm going after, but my life does not reflect that. It doesn't feel like I'm closer. I don't know when this thing is going to break. In the book, they call that the season of pain. That's the season of pain. It's okay because you have to go through it in order to make your vision the reality. It's always going to be that the things that you're reading and you're thinking about and you're growing towards, you're not going to see it right away. You're not going to feel it. It's not going to show up. That doesn't mean stop reading it. That doesn't mean stop getting that burning desire. It means you have to go through the season of pain. You have to get your subconscious eventually to get to a place where it believes that will happen, regardless of what you see. You know that old saying, some people have to see it and then they'll believe it. But the key is you have to believe it and then you'll see it. You see, we operate differently. Middle class, right? Like average people, they operate, well, once I see this, then I'll believe that that's true. The opposite is true for everyone that's successful. We're going to make sure that we are burning this desire into our mind so our subconscious believes that that's possible. Once we believe it's possible, we're going to go see it. It's going to happen for us. Turns into the fourth level, which is a healthy obsession, which is failure is not an option. You actually can't fail. You actually don't even believe that you're so convicted because you have clarity, you focused on it, you have this burning desire, you actually really, truly, honestly believe that that's going to happen. And no one could tell you different. No one could tell you different. That's the place we got to get to if we want to design the life that we don't need a break from. Designing our ideal life. All of us want to get to another place in life. You want to elevate. You want to be able to do more, have more capacity, build more things, get better in your health, better in your finances, build the business, like whatever it is you want to be able to go do. This is how you get there. This is literally the step by step. The key is, are you willing to do it? Are you willing to take 3 hours, 6 hours to get clear? Because it's not going to come in your 30-minute break at lunch. It's not going to come in your 45 minutes that you have. It's not going to come in the time when you're trying to do a bunch of different things and you're going to think, oh, I'm clear on what I want. Rich Stolley said he would take a whole day. He was like, if my list got stale, if my vision got stale, he was like, I would clear my whole schedule for the day and I'd go into a new environment. I'd go to the library, I'd go to the park, and I'd spend the whole day thinking about my vision. When's the last time you spent your whole day thinking about your vision and writing it down and putting together? No other things that are happening. Just you, what you want to make happen out of life, writing it down, visualizing it. When's the last time you did that? I would challenge you all. That if you really are serious about taking your life to the next level, designing the life you don't need a break from, living the good life, health, wealth, love, happiness, freedom. If you are serious about that, you need to take the time to write down and get clear on exactly what you want. I just did this last night. I spent about 4 hours last night sitting down and just writing out all the things, my reasons why I'm doing this, the reasons why I have to win for my family, my spiritual plan, who I want to be in God, in Christ, like writing it out, my personal plan, what I want to make happen in my health life, in my financial life. I wrote down a financial plan, wrote down a business plan, spent about 4 hours last night just diving into all these things. Why? Because I'm serious about taking our lives to the next level. So if I have to hear this message over and over again for years and years before I finally stick to it and commit to it, that's just what I have to do. And I'm ready and committed to do it. I want you guys to be committed to doing the same thing. The action step for today says, just for today, decide that you will only think thoughts of love and abundance, especially as they relate to your vision. Refuse to entertain any thoughts of fear or scarcity, and shelter yourself from anything or anyone that brings you negative energy. You have to feed your vision, feed it to yourself, write it down, read it, starve your fear. The opposite is true for most people. Most people are feeding their fears and have no idea about their vision. We need to flip that. You have today to make this happen, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to encourage you all this weekend, spend some time sitting with yourself, thinking about your vision, getting really clear, writing it down. And if it's a struggle, it's okay. It's supposed to be a struggle. I know I mentioned, right, the billionaire that's talking to us. It took him 40 years to create his vision. Granted, his vision's playing out. It's playing out right now. He's got some really great things happening. But he said he had to tweak this over a 30 or 40-year process. So you might not get it today. But I would encourage all of you, work on this. Make this top priority for you going off and changing your life and getting to all the places you want to. It's going to change everything. I love you guys. You deserve to win. Your families deserve to win. Every time I get information, just know we're learning and growing right along with you. We might just be a little bit further down the path. We might have been doing this personal development thing a little bit longer, but we're learning and growing right along with you. So the same things that I'm talking to you about and you know our colleagues are talking to you about, we're doing ourselves. So you got to put this stuff down. You got to write it down. You got to get good. People are depending on you. to design the life that you don't need a break from. People are depending on you to go off and make all of the things happen that you want to make happen, because you're going to be a blessing to other people in your family and outside of your family. Enjoy your weekend, y'all. Love you guys. We'll jump back on Monday. Go out there, do something that scares you. It's too crowded down here at the bottom, y'all. Time to get to the top of this thing. Take care.